Hello everybody, it's me JD Films. I am going to talk about the greatest and the most iconic person, Stanley, that has died, and today I am going to talk about his um, characters, the most iconic characters like Spider-Man, Hulk, and so on. This video is going to be dedicated about him, about his career, about his life, and also his relationship with his wife. That last year his wife died too. So and also I brought yesterday this movie, The Avengers, because to have these iconic characters, Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, and to have this in my hand, to see the logo of Marvel, the Avengers, and wow, this is very sad video. I hope you like it, and please share this video, put a like on this video, and subscribe to my channel and open the notifications so you can see all the videos that I'm going to make. Thank you, Stanley, for making superheroes.
I had done the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, and my publisher said, hey, they're doing well, do another one. So I came up with Spider-Man, and I said to him, I got this great idea. I want to call him Spider-Man, and he's a teenager. So I gave him the idea, and he said, Stan, that is the worst idea I have ever heard. He said, first of all, people hate spiders. You can't call a hero Spider-Man. Secondly, he said, he can't be a teenager. Teenagers are only sidekicks. And finally, he can't have personal problems. Don't you know what a superhero is? So he wouldn't let me do it. One day we had a book we were going to kill called Amazing Fantasy. When you're going to do the last issue, nobody cares what you put in it. Just to get it out of my system, I put Spider-Man in the book, and we sold it, and it was a bestseller. So my publisher called me in a couple weeks later and said, Stan, you remember that character, Spider-Man, that you and I liked so much? Why don't you do a series of it? And that's how Spidey was born. I always had the feeling that the other comic books, they had good stories, good artwork, everything was fine, but there was a detachment. Even in their letters pages, and they had very few, we were the ones who really made letters pages popular, but occasionally they'd run a letters page and it would be like this. Dear Editor, I read your story and I liked it, signed Charles Smith. And the answer would be, Dear Charles, thank you very much, the editor. Well, I decided to run letters pages, but I wanted to make them friendly. I wanted the kids to feel a part of Marvel. So even if somebody wrote a letter that said, Dear Editor to me, when I printed it, I wrote, Dear Stan. I changed the word editor to Stan. And when I answered the letter, instead of saying, Dear Charles, I'd say something like, hey, thanks a lot, Charlie, you know. And I tried to keep the tone friendly, as if I'm a guy they know and we're just talking together. And after a while, it became very natural. And after a while, all the letters, hey, Stan, I loved your story. Hey, Stan, I hated your story, whatever it was. But it was like they knew me and I knew them. I like to think of myself as an entertainer. I feel if I can entertain people in any way, it's very gratifying, because it's a funny thing. Years ago, I used to feel somewhat embarrassed that I was writing comics. I felt there are men building bridges and working in laboratories on cures for illness and doing real things, and I'm writing these comic books. But over the years, I've learned how much joy these comic books have brought to people. And I began to realize that entertainment is very important in people's lives. Most people, almost everybody, have lives that have problems and troubles and things to worry about. And if you can entertain somebody, take his or her mind off the things that would normally be bothering them, that's a good thing to do. So I like to think of myself as an entertainer, somebody who offers a little entertainment to people in whatever form it may be.
Juices flowing to keep creating work over the years.
Greed is probably one of the reasons. No, actually, I'm doing what I enjoy doing. It's like other men like to play golf, so they play golf every chance they can. So you don't say to them, how come you're playing golf today? You played last week. It was the same with me. To me, it is such fun creating characters, writing stories, even doing interviews, even though I can't hear most of what the guy says to me. But it's an exciting life, and when you do something that you know the fans seem to enjoy, that gives you such satisfaction, you don't want to stop.
As to be the #1 agenda of this week's UN summit. With the leaders of over 200 nations attending, the Secret Service has transformed.
Hey, Murdoch!
As far as I'm concerned, security ought to be Good morning, Dr. Krensler. Security ought to be beefed up a lot more.
You're going to celebrate 70 years of marriage to your wife, Joni.
We decided to stay with it until we get it right. We're still working on it.
I want to know how you two kids met. I want to know that story.
After I got out of the Army, I decided I think I'd like to get married. I was tired of living with sergeants and corporals and privates. I wanted to live with a girl. And so I started looking around for a girl to marry, and I found it's not that easy, really. There are a lot of girls, but you got to find the right one. And then somebody told me that there was a nice girl working at a model agency, and I should go up and try to meet her. I could mention his name. He told me her name. He said, go up and ask for her and say I told, blah, blah, blah. So I went up to the model agency, and I walked up to the desk where the greeter was, and there was this vision standing at the desk who said, may I help you, with a voice that was music, and a figure that was indescribable, and a face that you couldn't believe. And I said, I love you. I really did. I couldn't help myself. And we started talking and kidding around. And the next thing I knew, I took her to lunch. She wasn't the girl I was supposed to meet. I never saw that girl. She was inside somewhere. And her name was Joan, and I took Joni to lunch. And then we got married. It was a good lunch.
I personally believe that Joni she's the reason we're here. I think Joni is responsible for the Marvel Universe, right? Because,
She's responsible for my universe, right? That's for sure.
But, there's that story where you were going to quit, right?
Now I see what you were leading up. You are clever, and the way you get around.
This is all about Joni. We wouldn't be here. This wouldn't be happening.
I was doing the comics, and my publisher, Martin Goodman, told me how he wanted them done. A lot of action, a lot of fight scenes, not too much dialogue. Our readers don't like to read dialogue. And don't use any big words. They're not good at vocabulary. Just concentrate on the fight scenes. That's what they like. Well, I can write a fight scene, I think, as well as anybody, but that's not what I wanted to spend my life doing. I said, how about characterization? How about caring for the characters and building them? Give me fight scenes. So I went home and I said to Joni, honey, I think I'd like to quit. I can see this job as a dead end. It's going to lead to nothing. I might as well leave now and try to find something else to do. And then the thing you're leading up to, she gave me the world's greatest advice. She said, why don't you do one book the way you want to do it? The worst that'll happen, he'll fire you, but you want to quit anyway. At least you'll have gotten it out of your system. I thought that was good advice. So I did the Fantastic Four, which was more the type of story I wanted to do. It wasn't all fight scenes, and I had 4 characters that I could give different personalities to each one and so forth. And I did it. I didn't hear much from Martin about it until 30 days later when the sales figures came in. And he said, hey, Stan, that Fantastic Four, it did well. It sold more than any of our other books. How about if you do a few more titles like that? And that's what started the whole thing.
So bottom line, guys, thank you to Joni, right? If not
for Joni, I'd be sitting here. No, I wouldn't be sitting here.
I'd be a mall cop.
I'd be outside saying, hey, you got a nickel?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I am so fired. I've been lucky in a number of areas. I have a great wife, a great daughter, but in that one area, I have been extremely lucky because I love to write. Well, that isn't true. I hate to write, but it comes easy to me, and I write fast because I don't like to write, and I like to get finished quickly, but I enjoy it after I finish, knowing that I've done it. But I enjoy the people I work with, because I work with writers, with artists, now with directors, producers, and I'm always working in an atmosphere where we're trying to think of what can we do now? What kind of movie can we do? What kind of television show? What kind of book? I've often thought it's really tragic. There are so many people whose jobs are just jobs. I mean, they go to work because they have to make a living, but it's nothing that they really enjoy doing, and that's really most of the world. And I really have a great sympathy for most of the working people. And I'm aware that I'm incredibly lucky because of the work I do, and so is anybody who really enjoys his work, whether he's a shoemaker or a sportsman, anybody. If you enjoy your work, I think that's one of the secrets of some sort of happiness.